welcome to episode 218 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording on October the 15th, 2023. I'm Jeff. I'm your host of the show tonight. I'm based in Central Ontario, a target shooter, ham radio operator, general overall handyman, and weather nerd.
My name's Pierre. I'm a tactical beard owner, t-shirt designer wannabe prepper, government critique, and the reason we hit the explicit button.
And just so you know, I have no idea where the explicit button is, Pierre, so have at it.
Oh, I am having so much fucking fun tonight.
We're pooched now. And I'm the frugal Gunny, recently moved to Northern Ontario, in the middle of nowhere. I'm an off-grider, a shooter, a hunter-fisher, gatherer, trapper type, and a bit of a generalist. I only recently came to accept that I'm a prepper.
And I'm Bat Brad in Eastern Ontario, part-time amateur prepper, always trying to better myself.
If you want to help support the show, embrace communism, and buy some swag, we have both the CP Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and tactical Velcro patch at www.prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled and cover our broadcast loss. So I added an extra and I'm really bad at English, apparently.
Yeah, and that's embrace consumerism, not communism, but close enough.
Yeah, I mean,
words are hard.
My train of thoughts kind of goes.
We're just off to a great start. Yeah.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and submit a review on iTunes or wherever you may have found us. We seriously want your feedback, whether good or bad. If it's just a topic you want us to cover or something you learned this week, that's fine. You can email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
Or send feedback to let me know where I can get English courses for very cheap, because apparently I can't read.
We're gonna have fun today.
Well, we've got some motorized content for you in this episode. So we're going to start off with some relevant news. We're going to update our personal preps, and then we'll get into the main topic, which is small engines. So I don't really have anything for the news except to just say, we're not going to get into what is going on. We've all heard about it, but just with everything going on in the world right now, just keep your situational awareness about you. Keep your eyes on, potential protests on both sides of the topic and whatever. So, just be careful out there and keep your wits about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I learned some computer stuff thanks to a good friend that is also on the show tonight. Came over to set up the new computer, and the amount of stuff I learned, I want to now burn it.
It was not me.
No. Yeah, technology drives me nuts. It's nice, and I do this every night, but if I could, I would avoid doing it. Did some more packing because for moving. Helped some friend. They were installing some floor, and I was like, "Hey, you want a hand? I want to learn." So practice a good skill. Learned how to do the floor, how he does it, which is not a wrong way, but depending who you talk, might be the wrong way or whatever. But it was just good to, put some stuff aside and, dust off some pants and, listen and practice some skills that'll hopefully become useful when we move. So, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything for the news section?
Well, I got a couple of items, but not a whole lot to add. It's basically just to keep your heads on a swivel, folks. I've been keeping an eye on the cyber side of things these days. There's a ton of cyber attacks left, right, and center. And as Jeff already outlined, your physical security is more important than ever. Plan your movements accordingly. Have backup plans. And make sure you talk to people before you engage into movements, especially into cities, so that people know where you're at and you have a way of getting hold of them too. Those are good things to have. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, so my bad. I did my prep stuff, turned the news stuff again.
Well, Pierre, I gave you a pass on that. I was gonna mention that, but I just gave you a pass.
No, but right after that, anything else for news? And I was like, well, I'm an idiot. Like, my bad, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you just turned a shade of red there. Pierre?
It's probably the shitty lighting. See, You have to have lights on computer on. Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're doing news. You'd think after how many shows I know how everything goes, but my apologies. So we'll edit that so that that goes in the right spot. My apologies.
Okay.
There we go.
Then we'll get into what we've done lately for preps.
We'll just skip.
I didn't do a lot these last couple of weeks. I closed up the trailer for the winter, drained all the water out, put some pressure on it, blew all the lines out, put some RV antifreeze in the traps and stuff like that, got everything all cleaned up and got it all cleaned up for the winter, and went down and had Thanksgiving with my mom. Hope everybody else who's Canadian had a good Thanksgiving weekend and spent some time with your friends and family.
Definitely did. I enjoyed the Thanksgiving with my family and then my other family, which included the other two guys on the podcast. Didn't do a whole lot this week. Bunch of shed reorganizing, a little bit of fuel rotation, a whole lot of work. Started a second job recently doing some food deliveries, trying to earn some extra prep cash and carrying on.
Very nice. Man, it's been a busy few weeks. Not only did I do the Thanksgiving weekend thing with family and friends, and that was a great time. Had a good feed over at Pierre's. Had a little bit of fun there sharing some of the things I've unfortunately had to learn over the years. Or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it. Other than that, my gosh, I've been all over the place. I went up to the cabin to prep it for the winter. So I drained my rain barrels, put all of my earth moving tools away, like the pickaxe and some of the other things I didn't need anymore, put those away. And I've now swapped the sled into the truck. It's nice to be able to bring your essentials out with you if you ever get a major accident or failure of the truck somewhere, or maybe I don't know, some things happen, right? And then next thing you get marooned. So I got the sled in the back of the truck. That way I can grab a few things and walk away with all that if I need to. I dropped off some maple hardwood that I had cut down from here at my lady's place. Brought that up there, so I've got some hardwood for the shed. To keep the cabin warm, not the shed, and raise my solar panels up so that the snow wouldn't pack onto them, and then I wouldn't have any work to do when I get up there. So I'll just plug everything in, warm it up, and it'll start working. Won't have to go out there and sweep the panels. And also to ensure that I get good sun coverage, because the angle changes quite a bit up there when winter time. And you'll also see, if you've been following on my channel, I finally retrieved my snowmobile out of there using my rear winch rig, and that worked out really well right on the first try. So that was a lot of fun. And I've also found my new work gig, man. It's been really busy, and now it's all about, okay, we've got the hunt, we got winter, and probably gonna maybe squeeze in some truck work in there before the snow hits. We'll see. So that's what I've been up to. It's been pretty busy.
Are you trying to take Ian's job?
Well, I was only gone 2 weeks, right? we don't have we haven't posted my picture on the back of a milk carton yet, have we?
No.
No, okay.
No, not quite. Nope.
All right. I'll try and check in before we get to that point. We might have to do that for Ian, though.
All right. So, well, if there's nothing else, that all sounds good. We'll move into the main topic, which is small engines, maintenance, and, getting your stuff kind of ready for the winter or ready to put away for the winter, and just kind of some ideas, suggestions to throw around. So I am not very much of an expert on this. I learned a lot from my dad, who was very much dabbled in small engines and just YouTubing stuff and that kind of stuff. So I'm again by no means an expert, but I was able to get my old generator running, so I pat myself on the back for that. And And anyways, at this point, I'll turn it over to who I would consider the real experts, Pierre and Gunny, and we'll just kind of go from there and have a chat. Anybody in the live chat's got some questions, feel free to throw your questions in there, and we'll do what we can to try and give you an answer.
All right. So before we go further, I still haven't seen a video with the audio about that generator running.
Well, okay, I'll get the audio out because it definitely runs. Trust me.
I know you can tell it was running, but there's weird there was no audio. So I'm
wondering if it had noise canceling, that I was too close and it just canceled the noise out.
Maybe, I don't know. Phones can probably do that. We're not going down that rabbit hole right now.
Not tonight.
So, okay, so I've been fixing cars, equipment, pretty much anything that runs for the last 19 years. I don't hold any tickets. I used to fix cars. I was an apprentice. I've done renovations. I've done stuff. I fix small to mid equipment, diesel, gas. I'm talking skid steers, excavators, small backhoes. I do that for a living. That's literally what I get paid for. So I'm fairly handy. I'm sure if someone went to school for a bunch of stuff, they might argue with some of the stuff I say. So right off the get-go, take some of the stuff of what we're probably going to talk about with, I won't say with a grain of salt, but double check depending on make, model, all these things. These are kind of just guidelines to get you set up, tool wise, comfortability wise. Maybe some questions that you're like, is it worth purchasing this compared to this to keep something longevity wise? Obviously manufacturers kind of have their recommendations, but I'm like, I'll just bring you down the small rabbit hole of just the bare bones of how to get started to, potentially save yourself having to bring your snowblower to a small engine guy when none of the snowblowers work and you're waiting 3 weeks for it. Maybe, take an hour and see if you can get it yourself. You might have to bring it to that guy, but if you can save some of those steps, very faintly, that's what we'll get into. That's kind of where I want to stay. I don't want to get into cars and trucks and trailers and stuff like that. So we're just going to do, your regular maintenance stuff, your backup generator that you want to keep up and running in case the power goes out, snowblower, lawnmower, leaf blower, anything like that would be more household prepper material other than your vehicle. That's where I'm thinking we're going to go down. So I'm not an expert, but I can pretty much get 98% of anything that takes gas or diesel running if it's not running. So,
quick question for you about applicability. So the reason I'm really, really interested in tonight's episode is that I have 3 small motors, one of which is running, the other 2 is not, and they're both on your typical rig that people need to do season changes with. So ATV and snowmobile. How applicable would what you would be talking about tonight, would that be to those 2 kinds of platforms?
So 100% other than electrical.
Fantastic. I can help with electrical if we're talking about that tonight, but I'm very interested in the mechanical stuff.
When you're getting into ATVs and snowblowers, you've got switches, your tickle wire for your starter, your accessory, like a little bit more electrical. So I kind of don't really want to touch too much on the electrical because I go down way too many rabbit holes and I explain shit horribly according to people I work with. And I'm like, no, this is what you need to do. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, this is what you need to do. And I say it I try and say it 3 ways. And then I meet up with them and I show them what I'm talking about. And they're like, oh, that's what you meant. And I'm like, so 90%, so give or take, engine needs 3 things to run.
Spark, fuel, air.
Spark, fuel, air. Right? If you don't got air, doesn't matter how good your spark is or your gas is. If you don't have gas, doesn't matter how good, right? And I mean, I'll even throw in there, even though that's not the 3rd thing, you need compression. If you got no compression, doesn't matter if you have gas, fuel, air, and spark. You can have all of those. If you've got no compression in a cylinder, you got nothing. So you need 3 things to run, 4 things to run efficiently, I guess you could say, right? So right off the get-go, knowing where your air intake is, where your air filters are, keeping a spare air filter. If you work anywhere that's very, very dusty, lots of moisture as well as dusty, you're going to get a bunch of clay buildup in your air filters, in your intake manifolds, in your carbs, all that stuff. If everything gets clogged up, it just gets worse down the road. So you want to make sure you've got good airflow. You want to make sure you got good fuel. You want to make sure you got good spark. Good spark is all about, without taking the whole engine apart, which we're not going to get into, good spark plug, clean, good connection. If you've got those 3 things, you can pretty much get anything.
As well as the gap, right? Spark plug.
So I'll get some flack for this. Gap, yes and no.
Yeah, well, if it's that big instead of being this big, or if it's like that instead of being like that, that's going to affect it.
So it's going to affect the efficiency of your spark, but you're still going to get spark. That's what I'm saying. You're going to get some flack for what I'm saying. It'll run. It may not run effectively, but if your spark plug, whether the gap is supposed to be at 30 thousandths of an inch and you've got it at 60 thousandths of an inch, the spark connection is still going to happen. It just may not be as strong of a,
Yep.
So like, if you've got spark, it doesn't need to be perfect spark. You got spark, you got fuel, you've got air, you've got compression. It should go bang and go, cause the exhaust to work. In a nutshell.
As Barrett Reed said here in the live chat, he says gap your spark plugs every time.
Yes.
Again, I'm not 100% with that. I don't gap mine all the time, as Pierre says, but if you can and you're comfortable with it, then absolutely do it. But it's not the end of the world.
No, and I don't disagree. They're fairly small tools. They're called spark plug gap tools. You can get some that are kind of on the end of a screwdriver. They're about this big, or you can get some that literally go on your keychain. And the gap is thousandths of an inch from the point where the spark happens to the ground. Like, there's a small gap on a spark plug. And some machines require it to be at 30 thousandths of an inch. Some 450 of thousandths of an inch. It just all depends on the motor or whatever. Yes, 100% if you can do it. Make sure they don't touch. If you're off by 20, 30 thousandths of an inch, it's going to affect how efficient your engine runs. But if you can get it to spark and run, to save $2 worth of gas, and getting your long cut before the rain, or getting your driveway done before the freezing rain hits. Yeah, it's going to clog up a few things, but I'm like, oh, that's manageable afterwards. But yeah, if you can get one, 100% have it in your toolbox. 100% do it to manufacturer specs. Most of them have it written on the engine stamps, or that sticker that most people probably don't have anymore if their engine is more than 2 years old. But if you've got the manuals, a quick thing I like to do for most of my stuff, make myself cheat sheets. Those little cards you can buy at the dollar store. You buy 200 cards. Cue cards, recipe cards, whatever. You get something, type of oil, quantity, part number for your spark plug, part number for your air filter, gap, bare minimum fuel regulate. That's a whole other rabbit hole, but fuel recommendation, things to keep maintained. If it's your lawnmower, what type of blade it takes. There are 2 different models out. If you can get all those specs, put it on one of those, throw it in that little toolbox you got. If you've got a laminator, know someone who's got a laminator, laminate it, throw it in there and forget about it. Doesn't matter about it. 2 years down the road, when you can't find the old spark plug blew up on you. You can't get the specs off it, and you can't get it out. This, that, or you're unsure about the air filter, and you just want to go somewhere to pick it up and come back without having to take it out and go to 6 different stores. That will save you a giant headache, especially because you can never find the owner's manual when you need it. So going through those quick specs prior to that will save you a bunch of headaches. So that's one quick tip I've got for whatever you've got. Go through the owner's manual, make your little cheat sheet, save it on your phone, on your Google Drive, on the cloud thing before it rains, and make sure you get your info because the cloud disappears when it rains. Do all that. Have that information easily available. Quick specs. Last year I got Brad to, hey, grab me this spark plug. He was in town, I was at home, and I was an idiot and waited for the snow to fall before I could get my snowblower running. And I was like, is this spark plug? I was like, you know what, it's probably going to be a few bucks. Order it up. It was something else, but hey, pick this up. They've got it here. He was able to pick it up. So I've got a spare one. That's why I say I want to be prepper. I didn't have a spare spark plug.
And you didn't even get it running before the snow flew.
Yeah.
No, I was in the snow trying to get it figured out. It took me a few hours, but I got it running. So that's normally what I tell people right off the get-go.
And there's an idea from Brian in the live chat. He says he writes all his specs on the engine with a paint pen. So he has it there all the time.
That is a good idea. If I can add one thing to that, Brian, depending on where you put it on the engine, take some packing tape and tape over it so it doesn't smudge off.
Yeah, so I use paint pens quite often for what I do for work. So we keep track of when we do oil changes. Just in case I'm not the next person to see it, we write with paint pens on the oil filters, this, that, lots of information, torque specs for something and stuff like that. It is fantastic, but the last thing you want is to write all that on your snowblower and you're unable to put it inside your shed for some reason, and you leave it out back and you kind of forget about it. And then you take it out in the winter and the rain and sun got to it, and now you got half your specs.
It's gone.
I was just about to say, would it disappear on you over time?
Yeah, it will. So if you make it part of your every Sunday morning ritual of going to check it, have at her. That's an awesome way to have it in case you can't find your spreadsheets or your phone died and you can't get onto your cloud base or whatever. At least having that info there, 100%. I won't disagree with that for sure.
So I see Gunny's got a few questions, so we'll kind of throw it his way and we'll kind of run down from there and gain if anybody in the live chat has questions.
Sounds great. I always have a million questions, but one of the ones that persists across a lot of different people I talk to, and I spoke to a mechanic recently about it, and he gave me an answer, and it was good. But I'm always wanting to know more, so I like to validate things. I don't just accept things at face value. I have trust issues. So I heard that if you use anything other than premium fuel, that the ethanol that's present in all the other grades of fuel cause all kinds of problems with your carbs and other systems. So that spooked me a long time ago, and so I immediately started using this high test stuff everywhere. And so I'm just wondering if that's really the case. What's your experience of that?
So I'll agree and disagree. So yes, it can add extra gunk into the carb. It doesn't burn as great in general, but you have to be careful using premium. So if you were like, you bought yourself a new lawnmower and you're like, I'm only going to put premium in it, and you fill up a little jerry can, it's only like 4 liters, and then you keep switching fuels from premium to 87 to premium to 87, that can cause issues, and that's due to the lack of everything and all that stuff. So yes and no. So doing proper maintenance, learning how to take your carb apart, cleaning it, having spare parts, cleaning the jet in it, doing your oil changes, changing your spark plug, and all that stuff. If it gives you peace of mind, it's not going to break the bank. I don't disagree. Premium gas does burn better. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Compared to 87, if you do your proper maintenance and everything, I don't see a giant advantage to it personally. That's just my theory and my experience. Like I said, if it's got gas, I can pretty much get it to run. So not having that skill set and running premium will save or just push off that headache at a later date. As if you're doing you're doing your proper maintenance and everything, it'll be 4 years before you need to get your carb rebuilt, compared to 2 years or 3 years if you're using really questionable gas.
Okay,
that's my take from it.
Yeah, so I kind of, and again, I'm no expert on this, so Google was a bit of my friend, and I've talked to other people who are small engine mechanics, and they've kind of said the same thing, and that there is an established body of evidence that demonstrates fuel containing higher, 10% or more of ethanol can affect the integrity of the plastic and rubber components in the small engines, causing clogging, overly high running temperatures, and poor performance. So, and what they said to me was, and it's the same thing with cars, in that the older the vehicle is, the more susceptible it is to ethanol causing that stuff to break down, because back in the day when they built that motor, ethanol wasn't a thing, and they didn't build the rubber and plastic components to be compatible with ethanol.
That makes sense. Now, we've got a great question and comment here from Philip Dow in our chat. And I've had that question myself, and it's about stabilizer. So there's all kinds of talks about what are the best kinds of stabilizers, and I know that's probably
I had that in there as one of my questions, but we'll go ahead and do it now while we're at it. So.
Right on. Can a stabilizer help stave off that breakdown from ethanol gasoline, or maybe even, what do they call that?
Fuel breakdown.
Or what's the other one? Are there octane boosters? That's it. Would an octane booster help that at all, or is that just all money down the drain?
So octane booster is completely separate from stabilizer. So octane booster is adding additives to make it so you can take 87 and make it into 91 in a ballpark, right? Like, in a nutshell, that's what octane booster is. It adds a bunch of additives that will make your fuel run better. So for this specific question, the marine grade stabilizer compared to conventional, I have no experience in using the marine one compared to other stuff. The better your gas, you do.
Yeah.
Have you found a difference between your regular fuel and marine grade one?
The fuel stabilizer stuff from Canadian Tire works. It does its job, no big issue. Dealing with generators for a month-long running period every year for a Halloween ride. We put them away in November, bring them back out in August, test them all. Usually put stabilizer in the tank with a little bit of premium in it, have it run for a few minutes just to push the fuel through to everything, coats everything, and then put it away. Two of the exact same generators, one with the Seafoam marine grade, one with the conventional run-of-the-mill Canadian Tire stuff. The Seafoam, when we started that generator in August, 2 pulls, it was running beautiful, no issues. Little puff of blue smoke, just getting everything's moving again, no big issue. The other one with the Canadian Tire brand took 3 or 4 pulls, playing with the choke a little bit. It ran rough for the first maybe 3 minutes, and then it was purring like a kitten. You couldn't tell the difference between the two of them.
Okay, like most of the stuff I use is diesel. Well, most of the equipment I fix now is diesel. All my gas stuff I just use so this will get controversial too about which stabilizer is best. I stand by most statements where sometimes you may have to pay a premium to get a better quality product. Those generic brands compared to a name brand one may not be the same. This one's $5 cheaper, you know, like, would you trust gas that's half the price of a regular gas station? You know, it falls down that same path. So
depends. Are we on a reserve?
Right. So like, that's pretty much the only exception. And even there, I find it kind of questionable. So I'm not saying you got to buy Deep Purple engine oil at like $20 a quart because it's like racing oil. But just at bare minimum, following manufacturer specs and buying a reputable name brand fuel stabilizer. All the stuff I use for the company I work with, we put it in 160 pieces of equipment, clean flow. I haven't had any issues, whether it's the diesel one or the gas one. Is there something that's better, more efficient in price? Sure, maybe, I don't know. I'm just going off personal experience for this. Use the clean flow stuff, and as Brad mentioned, if you're gonna, so fuel stabilizer is used to put in something that you're gonna store for a while. Don't just pour it in the gas tank and hope for the best. Pour it in the gas tank when it's fairly low, almost to the point of no gas. Put fuel stabilizer in, put gas in it. If it's your lawnmower, kind of move it around, get two mixtures to mix up, let it run for a little bit. That'll help your carb not gum up as best as possible. Get it in the lines, get it in this. It'll prolong the life of it long term. Definitely well worth the money. So as for the marine grade, I mean, I kind of want to try it out now because I've got some stuff I want to store. So I don't know, I guess we'll try it out, and I'm going to have to store my lawnmower.
I've always used, or at least for the last few years, used the Seafoam brand, and it seems to come highly recommended. Like Brad said, I have had zero issue with it. So
is it any extra money?
We'll go to this one,
yeah, it is.
This comment, and then I'll ask a question. So Barrett Reed kind of said, if I'm leaving gas in a mower or something like that over the winter, he uses premium. I'm assuming he says premium gas. If I'm constantly using the machine, I'll use regular. If it evaporates in your carb, regular, it leaves more gunk behind. I don't know the truth to that, but
I mean, so
we'll comment on that, and then I've got my next question. So Pierre, if you want to.
Yes and no. So if you're using regular gas and using proper storage, so premium, yes, is better gas than regular gas. I haven't found any issues. I use regular gas in my lawnmower, my snowblower, everything, because I'm like, nah, I don't like. I've always got regular gas at home. I don't want to worry about, I'm out of premium, this, that. I haven't found any issues other than my last snowblower issue, but that was 100% on me for not doing proper previous maintenance and maintenance before the snow came. So I haven't found any issues with it. That's just me. I've had this lawnmower for 5 years. I've had this snowblower 3-4 years. It's got an electric start. You know, push the button for 2-3 seconds, it starts. My lawnmower is a pull one, 4 or 5 pulls. If I haven't started it all winter, and it starts up. So I can't say 100% for that. Like I said, I'm not the perfect person. I'm not a guru that can tell you anything. So doing regular maintenance and putting proper fuel and whatever, when you store it, don't store it full. Store it with 1/8 of a tank, enough to keep the bottom of your tank coated. So enough of the bottom of the tank to get coated, and your fuel line not exposed to elements. Turn your gas off, let the engine choke out, everything's good. And then you're putting, then maybe your first fill up, put, a crap load of good premium on it, turn it on, run it, it'll get all mixed up, it'll burn off that excess fuel.
Okay, so here's my next question.
Yep.
I've been told both ways of it, so I don't know which one's yet. Is it if you have a fuel shutoff, is it better to turn that fuel shutoff and run your motor till it's out of fuel, or is it better to leave the fuel in the carburetor over the winter? I've heard both ways. I've heard if you run it dry, the seals can dry out, the gaskets can dry out, like stuff can dry out. It's better to leave the fuel in. Other people say no, drain the fuel or turn it off, run it out of fuel, and again, then in the spring or whatever, or fall, whenever you're using it, turn it back on and run it. Which way does anybody think is better?
So
I've heard both, so I'd love to hear Pierre's answer here.
So what I tend to do when I store something is I normally, I'm done with it. You do your fuel maintenance, try and run it out. If I've just filled up expecting another snowfall, my fuel tank's full, I've got pinch off pliers, disconnect the line. I dump most of my fuel out, put some fuel in, some stabilizer. I'll normally run it through, and then I'll normally, as it's running, I'll turn my gas off. I don't necessarily let the engine choke out, but I tend for it to let it start running low, shut the machine off, and worry about it next summer or next season, I should say. But that is also because I have no problems taking my carb apart and doing what needs to be done.
Right. So I didn't realize that Barrett had put a comment in there before I asked that.
Yeah.
He said it's a good idea to shut your fuel off, let the motor run, die by itself, use up all the fuel in the carb, saves problems later. So,
okay.
Like I say again, I've heard both sides of the story, but for me, usually if I've got something with a shut off, the last couple of years, that's what I've been doing is I've been turning it off and letting it run out. Yeah. I put the seafoam in, I let it run for 10 minutes, make sure it's through the system, shut it off, let it run out, and I haven't had an issue. So
yeah, and I pretty much let it run bone dry. Like as it starts chugging out, I tend to just shut it off, leave a little bit of residue in there. That's just me. But I mean, gas can deteriorate anything petroleum based. So all those rubber gaskets you're worried about, put an O-ring in a cup of gas for 6 months and let me know how it looks.
It's not pretty.
No, that's a good point. Now, of course, all this winterizing talk is not much of a problem if you keep running the machine over the winter time, right?
Yep. So we're talking. So at this point, I'm talking about winterizing your lawnmower
to put it away. But I wouldn't change anything about your snowblower in the spring for the summer. It's going to be easier. Temperature isn't affected as much, so you don't have to worry about your gas freezing up, which is kind of hard for gas to freeze up, but it's possible depending on where you get your gas, the butter content on it. So that's why stabilizer is very good for it. That's another good advantage that we didn't even talk about while we were doing stabilizers. Your diesel, if anything's diesel, definitely fuel stabilizer helps prevent the diesel from gumming up in case you need to run it, anything like that. It'll help that water break down and all that stuff from freezing. So I'm not saying this is only for stuff you're putting away for the winter. I wouldn't change anything from your spring swap over. So all your winter stuff, do the exact same. Put it away until the winter. Like it's not seasonal, right? Like do this and this for your summer stuff and this for your winter stuff. Fuel stabilizer, 100%. Cleaning your carbs, cleaning your spark plugs, cleaning your air filters, doing all that stuff, 100%. Does not matter time of year. Do it. Okay.
And that was one comment that I kind of had in there, and I'm sure Pierre and anybody else would agree with this. Maintenance is cheaper than a repair. Keep your maintenance up on your stuff. Do your oil changes when you need to. Don't let it sit for 2 years with the same fuel in it and never run it. Don't, doing your proper maintenance is so much cheaper than having to do a repair down the road.
Yeah.
Very
I
much.
agree on that.
And 100%, guess when you're going to need your snowblower to run, and you got to take it to the repair guy along with another 90 people. So now you got
Always.
no snowblower for.
And of course, as Murphy's Law is, the day that you desperately need it is the day it's not going to run. And
Absolutely.
that's your own fault, right? So,
And I'm not saying if you put stabilizer in it and clean your air filter, you'll never have a problem, but it's going to help. But it's going to help that where, as the winter goes on, you're like, this thing's not running that great, but it's still running.
Yep.
So in the spring, right, when everybody's trying to get their lawnmowers fixed, your lawnmower's already running, that you can take it over the summer and just be like, hey, can you, check this out? And, we need to do this, this, and this. Now you've got a better running snowblower than last season, but it doesn't prevent any extra things, right? It just gets you out of that jam that when everybody breaks down, now you're out of a snowblower for 2 weeks on your first snowfall with a lot of wet snow that's 2 feet.
right. So got a question in the live chat from Dave. I don't know, this might be a controversial question, but we'll take a shot at it. So what's your take on using Marvel Mystery Oil? I have heard of it. I've never used it, but I have heard of it.
I don't even know
Never
what
heard
the
of
fuck
it.
you're talking about.
Never heard of that.
No,
I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm 100% willing to Google it. So most of my small equipment stuff, I use 10W30 diesel oil. So you can buy 10W30 diesel version oil. That's what I use in everything.
Right.
That keeps your costs low, I bet.
Well, there's an answer for you, Dave. But we can't answer it. Maybe we'll come back to it later.
I am
Somebody can
not
Google it and look at it. Like I say, I've seen it in a store, but I've never used it. I've never picked it up and read the
Was it
label
next
or
to the
anything like
blinker
that.
fluid, though? No, so I don't know. I don't look up on the new trends for oil myself personally. I personally use 10W30 diesel oil. It goes in everything, unless maybe a 2-stroke, but it's a whole other conversation we're not even touching tonight. 2-stroke stuff. Doesn't matter. Summer, winter, 10W30 diesel oil. You can buy 4.5 liter jugs at Canadian Tire. That'll probably do your lawnmower twice and your snowblower twice. Very cost effective, very efficient oil. That's what I tend to use.
Good tip.
Yep.
Sorry. So here would come the oil question then, which I'm surprised actually hasn't come up in the live chat. Synthetic versus regular oil.
Okay.
I can talk about that too a little bit, but I sure would love to hear what Pierre has to say.
So synthetic, yes, way better. No ands, if, or buts. Cost association over lifespan of a lawnmower, I don't know if it's worth it. But
That was actually going to be my question was it worth it in a smaller motor for the cost difference?
So that depends. You'd have to look at what a 4-liter jug of regular oil compared to synthetic oil and how many oil changes you're going to do. If that's not a question for you, yes, 100% synthetic oil, way better. But here's the other trick. Don't buy, the synthetic oil is on sale today, so put that in and then go back to regular oil. If you decide to take that route on synthetic, you have to stick with it.
Okay.
That's I mean, it's I don't 100% understand it, but it's just one of those rules. If you go synthetic, you stay synthetic.
I recently watched a video, and it was the chief engineer of the GTR motor. That would be the Nissan GTR motor, who was answering this very same question. What's the best thing to do for your motor? And beyond what I always say about everything, which is RTFM, that means read the manual. You can figure out what the F means. So beyond reading the manual, I also listen to experts. So in my manual for my generator, my particular generator says that for extreme cold temperatures, you might want to use synthetic oil versus the regular weight of oil. So in my generator, I immediately went synthetic, and I've been sticking to it for the subsequent oil changes. Now, that being said, this Nissan chief engineer of the GTR motor, who's now retired, this is exactly what he said, and I've changed my habits because of him. He said it is more important to change the oil frequently than it is to have a higher quality oil. So the example he says, if you've got the same motor and you take your synthetic oil and you put it in there and you run it for 10,000 kilometers, your motor is not going to last as long as if you ran regular conventional oil and swapped it out at 5,000 kilometers. And that's what he said he does in all of his cars, and that's what he recommends people do. So he recommends more frequent oil changes, and he even says you can even skip the fuel filter change every other oil change. It is more important to do frequent oil changes, in his opinion, and the reason was that the amount of buildup of pollutants in the oil is what breaks down the oil fastest. And it is that oil breakdown that will score and make, what do they call it, burrs, and cause a scarring on the sides of your cylinders. It is the breakdown of that oil. So it is better, according to him. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm not an engineer, but when a Nissan chief engineer speaks up, I tend to listen. So what he said was more frequent oil changes with the cheapest oil you can get your hands on, but do them frequently. Yeah. Don't let them go on later.
In my opinion, my train of thought, if you go synthetic, stay synthetic. That's just been that was a thing when I started at 16, 17, when I did my co-op at a dealership. If you go to synthetic, stay synthetic. But yeah, if like that oil life monitor that every fucking vehicle has right now drives me bonkers. What do you mean I can drive 12,000 kilometers on the same oil I couldn't before? That's one of my things. If I'm doing a lot of highway, I might stretch it out to 7,000 kilometers. But like I still go, give or take 6,000 kilometers, get my oil changed. Well, but your oil life monitor says you're still at 70%. No, I don't trust it. Yeah. So I don't disagree. Yeah, if every first of the month you want to change your oil, have at her. You're not doing anything wrong to the engine. You're not gonna cause harm to the engine. If anything, the only thing you're doing, in my opinion, is you're pushing off that big repair. Right? You're just you're kicking that can down the road. If you don't do an oil change for 3 years, you're going to have to do an engine rebuild way more than someone that does an oil change, twice a year.
Now, since we're on the talk of engine life, and this is one of the questions I had for us, this is all dovetailing in really, really well. Beyond changing your oil at the prescribed intervals, which they'll tell us we should do, and I try to do. I definitely do that with my generator. I've been pretty disciplined about that. However, what can we do beyond just oil changes, bud? Is there any other easy magic trick that we can start adopting?
Easy, yes, to some extent. I would say if you're in a very dusty environment, so you're using your generator up at your cabin, it's very dry, lots of dust blowing around, and you run your generator 3 hours a day because the sun's not greatest, so you're charging up your batteries. Every second day before you start it up, take your air filter out, put your cover back, so the cover that takes your air filter, take the air filter out, put your cover back on so you don't get a bunch of dust past that filter, tap that filter out. You'll get better airflow, better efficiency, right? So remember when I said, it was like you need good airflow, you need good spark, you need good fuel. So using good fuel. Go ahead, Jeff.
Nope. The only other thing I was going to say is I've mentioned this when I talk about like generator stuff, and that is what people forget is, especially on generators and that, these are small engines. They're not designed to run for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at a time. If you've got a generator or a smaller motor, or, you're cutting your grass, whatever, I wouldn't run it for more than 2 or 3 hours. And then, stop for an hour, let it cool down, let it sit. They're not designed to be like a car motor where they run for 12 hours or 15 hours every day. They're not designed for that.
They're not that big rig.
You're talking about duty cycle here, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So that manual that you were talking about, right? Like every manual will have a recommended, hour of service. So like, say your generator, right? Let's take the ice storm in '98. That, people were out of power for more than a week. A generator,
17 days.
A generator is not designed to run for a week straight.
Definitely not.
There are duty cycles on it where it's like, okay, you should shut it down, let it cool down. So most generators and small motors don't have the cooling system of your vehicle. So they don't have coolant running through the motor. They don't have a fan. They don't have these things. Like if it gets past a certain temperature, depending on the one you've got, it may shut off on you, or it's just going to start running extremely hot, which will cause you way more repairs down the road. So taking those duty cycles, like Jeff said, right? Like they're not designed to run non-stop.
Good advice. Good
100%.
Advice.
If they're not designed to run more than, let's say a day, like Generacs, for example, right? Those standby motors that or standby generators that people have hooked up to their house, they're not designed to run for 17 days straight. Even though they're that standby and that's what they stand by, that, oh, you do this, you do that, like they're good to go. They still have duty cycles where it's like they're not supposed to run for more than a day. You're supposed to shut them off, let them cool down, let them do their thing. And then, which I'm sure there's a way to shut them down. Like I don't have one. I want one, don't get me wrong. But I don't have one where it's one of those things where it's just like, you need to learn what the max of your of whatever type of machine or equipment you have. You can't have something run for a week straight and expect it to work perfect when it's designed to cut a 20 by 20 lawn once a week.
Good tip.
Yes.
And a good comment here again. Barrett seems to be our resident expert in the live chat, which is great. He says, make sure you're shaking up your oil jugs before you pour it out. A lube rep once told him all the additives sink to the bottom and stick to the last bit of oil left in the jug.
If that is true, that is awesome to hear and to know. 2 years ago, I went and we had some extra funds. I went and bought, I want to say about 12 jugs of oil for the two vehicles that we have here, and I'm still running through it, and I had no idea of that the Kia in the driveway right now is due for an oil change. That's next weekend's project, and I still have some of that oil. I'm going to go out tomorrow and flip it upside down, start shaking the crap out of it, make sure it's good to go.
So yes and no on this one. So you're talking about a full-size vehicle that normally takes a full jug of oil, bare minimum.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that too.
So if you're talking about your lawnmower that takes 500 cc's or 500 milliliters of oil, where that 4-liter jug is going to last you 8 oil changes.
Yeah, long time.
If you're pouring the whole thing in, I mean, yeah, sure, shake it if you want. But I mean, if the additives are all at the bottom, but they all end up in the motor, it's not going to be the end of the world, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I guess. But I do still have to do an oil change on the generator, so it takes the same oil.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's not bad. It's one of those things where, like, leave anything sitting around, stuff's gonna settle how it's done. Like, leave your vinaigrette in the fridge and everything separates.
Yeah, shake it up.
It's roughly the same for oil. So yeah.
And Tom in the live chat here, I noticed he had mentioned earlier that he had a Generac generator, and he made the comment that apparently they recommend you're supposed to check it every 24 hours.
Yep.
So,
I
as you
had a
say,
feeling,
yep.
because most power outages don't last more than 24 hours, right? In a ballpark, in the great scheme of things, like I woke up to no power this morning, so I had no coffee before I went to work. So I stopped and picked up coffee, which I don't like because you pay for coffee and it's cheaper to make it at home. But we had no power. They were doing maintenance somewhere. I was like, it's a Sunday. I was like, it makes sense. Do it on a Sunday morning. It was supposed to be back up by 9. Took extra time or whatever, but it's just, yeah, though that's what the Generacs are good for, especially depending what you've run on your program or on your Generac. If you got sub pumps and this and that, you don't have to worry about this, that. You can at least get Wi-Fi, because where I live, I don't even have cell signal, so I can't even get on the outage map if I got no Wi-Fi. But yeah, they all have design timeframes where it's like you should run it for this and then give it this much time to rest and recuperate or whatever. So do that 100%.
Very good tips there. Where can a fella like myself, who's just basically got some high school shop class type education, has maybe a socket set and a little bit of know-how beyond YouTube, and the Haynes manual that I used to love at Canadian Tire, they don't really publish those anymore. What's a fella like myself to do? And I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other people out there who are wrenching on their own machines. Where else do you think is a good source of information for us to learn? And
can I jump in there for a second? Danny, I think it was in the live chat up here, said he's found a lot of manuals and whatnot online.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Barrett said it. Found a lot of manuals online. I've downloaded and printed off hard copies that I keep in my shop.
Yep.
Looking for a generator manual recently for an Onan, which was bought by Cummins a few years back. I came across nothing for that, but I kept searching. I finally found something. I've downloaded it. I just haven't had a chance yet to look through it, but I'll agree with Barrett. Look online. Look all over the place.
So I do a lot of online searching. I'm talking about what if we're not online. So where can I learn it so that I don't go need it on demand, right?
So my best advice for anybody that's like, hey, I want to try something, and you've got your pinky in the repair things, look around at your buddy's end of the driveway. He's got an old snowblower that won't run. Pick it up. Try
Go home and tinker.
Yeah, go home and tinker. It doesn't cost you. Well, it's going to cost you whatever in materials. If you've got to rebuild the motor, fine, whatever. But I mean, you're just going to do some spark plug. You're going to take the carb apart, and you're going to try and figure out how the carb works and how to put new seals in it. Right? You got to order seals. Seals normally aren't that much, right? So you can easily dump $30, $40, maybe 50, right? You can probably figure out how to budget that for a motor that won't run, that costs you nothing to pick up. All that will teach you way more than watching YouTube videos or reading, in my opinion, reading a manual. I read a manual and I'm like, I'm more confused the second I do it. Oh, now everything I read makes sense. Right.
That's exactly how it works for me. I'm only as good as getting my hands on. So I'm always looking.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I'm 100% the same way. You can put the manual in front of me and you might as well make it Greek, but put my hands on it and
right.
Yeah,
so for example, Jeff,
great advice.
Jeff, how much you bought that generator for $100? How much money did you put into it, if you don't mind indulging?
Maybe $30. I bought a O-ring kit for the carburetor and a little bit of cleaning and stuff like that. Maybe $30 tops. So
$130, a few hours, you got yourself a generator that's running. That's worth how much?
He said he bought it for $1,000. So
wow,
right. So
and how big is that generator?
I do like my return on investment. Yep.
Yeah. So just like that's my best advice. Someone that's got a generator or a lawnmower, they're like, this thing doesn't run. I'm buying a new one. Hey, I'll take it. Even if you you don't even have the whole handle and everything. Get the motor and the gas tank. If it's a lawnmower, make sure you got the shield for it or take the blade off. Just get the motor running.
Yeah.
Take the spark plug out. Does it have spark? Does it have gas? Does it have air? And start tinkering. Worst comes to worst, if it's a freebie by the side of the road, it costs you nothing but time to try it out.
It costs you nothing to put it back at the road.
Exactly. Put it back at the road.
Great advice.
This thing doesn't work. So that's my best advice. Yes, I will say, because we're online, YouTubes. Do the YouTubes.
Now there's a really great comment here. I got to give a shout out to Brian Peters for this, because this actually happens to me often. I end up talking to people like present company, and he's saying, find someone to mentor you. He's been turning wrenches himself for 40 years, and he's done that a lot. And he says, we all have to learn somewhere. And, I have learned more from the people I talk to every day. When I was up north in the middle of nowhere and my ATV was giving me headaches, it turns out the fellow operating the sawmill was a former Yamaha factory technician. Can you believe that? So
small world.
Yeah. So I learned so much from him. I was picking his brain constantly. I'd go by and go and pick his brain. So that's really good advice. And
100%.
And if I can add to his comment, wouldn't that be a great kind of person to add to your personal mutual assistance groups?
That's why people like me.
Yes.
Because I can get almost anything
done. It takes a lot for people to like you. You know that.
It's either cooking or engineering and mechanical skills. It's either the cooking or being able to fix stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen it, whatever. But somewhere 3 years ago, 2 lawnmowers in the landfill. He's still using them.
Yeah.
It costs you nothing to take it home. Whatever. If it costs you nothing to take it home and it costs you $10 to dump it.
Great point. Well, I've got a good learning opportunity here. John Bennett just asked a great question. He says, why is my sled dead? And that's a great question, John. I'm not sure. When I paid and plunked my money down for it, it was running, and it blew my hair back when I took it for a spin, and that's why I plunked my money down. But then it sat for a few months, and I went back to pick it up, and the cord was a little shorter, and nothing was running. So I've got some work to do. I got to diagnose what's happening and then fix it. So yeah, a new adventure.
We can work. We can work on that.
I'll be using everything I've learned here today, and I'll probably be picking your brain some more, Pierre, guaranteed. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody here will see it on the chats too.
I'll get, once like my snowblower and my lawnmower's here, it's a lot easier. So I'm very easy on like showing way more than explaining, because I've been doing this for so long. So I will explain something like someone that knows the same brainwave as I'm going. And it's happened way too many times where I'm like, someone couldn't get something started. I was like, okay, bypass this switch. Or if that doesn't work, bypass this switch. They're like, well, my Bluetooth doesn't work. I'll call you after. And I was like, okay. So he called me back 20 minutes later. I was like, he's like, it still didn't start. You bypassed the switch? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you didn't sound confident. I was like, do you know what I mean by bypass the switch? He's like, no.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, so unplug it and, stick a wire in it. So I was like, you make the circuit. And he's like, well, I didn't want to feel stupid. I was like, is it stupider for you to ask me what I mean, or for you to waste 20 minutes and then call me back? Right? Like it's one of those things where I'm like, trust me, like if you're trying to learn from someone and he's calling you an idiot every second, it's not worth learning. But I was like, no. Anybody who's wanting to like pass on knowledge and you don't understand, put your hand up and say, explain better. Okay, where did I lose you? Right? I said these 20 words. Where in those 20 words, where did I lose you? You lost me here.
Number 2.
Okay, great. Number 2. Okay, no problem. So if that person is wanting to teach someone, right, or wants to pass on any knowledge or tricks of the trade or whatever, they will gladly just be like, okay, do you understand what I mean by this? Or what did you take away from that? And it's like, no, that's not what I meant. And they will gladly reformat how they are explaining to make it make sense to you. 100%. Nobody, if someone's going to laugh at you because you were like, oh, you didn't understand the technical terms I was talking about, and you normally sit behind a desk every day without a wrench in your hand, and they've been doing it for 40 years, like you found the wrong person to teach you how to do stuff. 90% of people will Brad has seen it, where he had a machine at his house and we had a problem. And we went there and I was talking to the guy. I was like, and I'm saying stuff. And I was like, do you understand what I mean? And I was like, I don't mean this as in you're an idiot. It's just, I talk in a very technical term that bare bones, you have literally just under the terminology that I understand because I already know what the problem is. Right? And he's like, no, I don't understand. I was like, where did I lose you? It's like, you lost me here. I was like, okay, what I meant by the next part of this sentence is this. Then he was like, oh, that's what you meant. I was like, yeah, that's it. And nothing against the person, nothing against anything. It's just everybody's brain works differently.
Oh, yeah.
So find yourself someone that can literally grab you by the hand and walk you through it. Like, it's not a bad thing to not understand everything.
Half the battle is in voicing your question. If you can do that, and then
the only stupid question is the one you didn't ask.
Oh yeah, most of the time I'm wondering where to ask, and if you go on, and the reason I asked you that question, where can a fellow learn, is I'm sure you've all had the experience of going online onto a forum.
Oh,
have you ever,
go YouTube
exactly.
before you go forum. In my
opinion. That's what I do now, because I look through forum threads and I just see your typical shameful human behavior, and I go, okay, I don't want to deal with egos right now. So I end up on YouTube.
So I always do my best advice for someone when they don't understand or they're unsure of something. I said, go YouTube it. Type in what you're looking for. One of the first videos that pop up that makes sense or what you want, watch it, take your notes, go back, watch 5 videos. If 3 to 4 of them are saying the same thing, you're probably going down the right path if you follow those instructions.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on, don't get me wrong, I've YouTube shit in the field where I'm just like, well, this is a new machine, we haven't gotten 100% training. I was like, how do I get a John Deere to start because I get this code, right? And it's bit me in the ass before and it's worked out for me. So I'm like, yeah, if you've got that 2-hour window where, I've had it where daughter's in bed and the wife's like, I'm tired, and I'm like, I got 3 hours to myself. I was like, pour myself a glass and I've got something. I go on the YouTubes, and next thing you know, I'm down a whole other rabbit hole where I've watched 60 videos and I can rebuild the exact same bolt 20 different ways.
Right? I know how you feel, man.
YouTube is good for that.
It is.
So it is. So I'm like, so YouTube is a good basic of, getting, find those videos that literally break down every step, good things, not just this guy with his hands going like mine right here. And it's like, look, it's running now, right? Like the people that break it down, I could probably do it. I don't have the patience for it. I don't think I have the technical aptitude to do things like this. But it's not a bad resource. I've used it, and I've been doing this for 18, 19 years, and I've still used it. Something boggles me, YouTube, something. Hey, it worked or it didn't work, and I got to use other resources, people I work with, or just trial and error. And trial and error will come with experience and time of trying things.
And even when it didn't work, you still learned something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I learned not to fucking try that again because that was a waste of an hour.
But you're paid for the hour, so who cares? It's all good.
I found that along the way, when I go through RTFM, I learn a ton of stuff I hadn't been looking for, but now I feel smarter about the machine I'm using. And so it's never bad to start from that point, going to find the manual online, reading it. And then usually you might find that you have the smarter question, so that when you do approach the SME, their subject matter expert, they're not asking you to convert your baby words to adult technical words. You're presenting them with adult technical words that allow them to go straight to the answer. And not even that.
So best advice I've ever gotten. So I'm a horrible person and I'm a smoker. And I did repairs where I'm trying to put power steering lines back on the steering rack. And if anybody has ever done power steering lines on a steering rack, they're solid steel lines. And everything has to line up perfectly for those threads to work. And I'm covered in oil. And I'm working for an hour. And I curse and swear. And I'm throwing wrenches. And I was like, I'm going for a smoke. I go for a smoke, come back, boom, lines thread right back in. So if you start going down that rabbit hole where nothing's working and you're starting to get frustrated, there's nothing wrong with going to just take a break, go get some fresh air, go grab a cup of coffee. You know, if you don't smoke, fine, go look at a YouTube video, but just taking yourself away from a scenario and then coming back with a fresh set of eyes can make a world of difference. I worked when I was an apprentice, first year apprentice. This person couldn't figure out why this machine wouldn't, or this car wouldn't start, this, that, and I think it's a fuel pump issue, this, that, and he's trying to get all technical and be all smart with us. And me and the other apprentice are standing there and everything, and he's like, you know, he's trying to chase wires. So he's like, okay, so probe your wires so you can cut out sections of the wire so you don't have to go through the firewall or go underneath seats and this and that. And both of us standing there and we're like, you think it might be that broken wire right there that might be the problem? He had gone too deep in that rabbit hole and everything that he didn't just take a second to just walk by and see it. Like the wire was literally dangling right there. And I'm like, yeah, you're looking for a green wire? It's broken right there, buddy.
Rule number 1, always check the wires.
Yeah, but right.
Don't cut the red one.
Or do, depending if they want to trick you. Right, but
great advice all around.
Taking that thing. So I do want to touch on quick tool breakdown. Very simple, cost effective. I want to say 100 to 125 bucks. You can get fully set up to pretty much check any small engine stuff. Decent socket set. Whether you want to go quarter, 3/8, I would avoid half. I go strictly 3/8 on everything I do. I don't do a lot of small engine stuff. I do normally 2-cylinder stuff. So if you want to talk single cylinder, your snowblower or whatever, some of it might be bulky. So if you're going to go strictly lawnmower, snowblower, leaf blower, stuff like that, 1/4 inch socket set, not a bad thing. I will say going metric as well as imperial will save you a giant headache, because when things aren't rusty, yes, 10 and 3/8 are interswappable. When everything is rusty, 10 and 3/8 will strip. You put a 10 on a 3/8, you're going to round it out, you're going to curse and swear. So if you can, whether it's a 1/4 inch or a 1/4 or 3/8 kit, you don't have to get every socket known to man. Most small engine stuff, you could go up to like 13 and be good.
I think that's about right. Yeah,
right.
Maybe 15 for some larger bolts.
Yeah, and that's to like take the handle off because you got to get your carb off, and you know, like I had to take half my snowblower apart to take the carb off. Why? Just because the bolt was like this long to take the carb off, and the handle was in the way, so I had to take the handle. I had to take a bunch of stuff off. So set you're comfortable with using an extension, a few different size extensions, a short one, a long one. Yeah, sure. Splurge a little bit, get yourself a swivel socket. You guys know what that is?
Very useful.
Those things are godsends.
It's like a for sockets.
Yeah, it is. So now you can kind of work on a 45 and the
sort of at an angle.
Yeah, you can work yourself on angles. Allen key in Torx, little sets, the Allen keys and the Torx. Most small stuff have Allen keys and Torx on them. You don't need the fancy dancy ones. You don't need the crazy fancy ones. Just something mostly imperial for small engine stuff is imperial, not metric.
Yeah,
you'd be good with that. Spark plug sockets, the small and the big one. So there's 2 sizes for small spark plugs. Get both sizes. They'll cost you a few bucks each. Just have them. Throw them in the thing. Most things, like two-stroke stuff, like your steel, whatever, however they pronounce it, will come with a wrench that'll take the spark plug out. But buy those. You can get almost anything. Splurge the $10 and buy yourself a spark plug tester. This thing is the cat's ass. So there's other ways of testing. If you have spark from your spark plug, this one prevents you from having that little tickle. So you literally take your spark plug off, or spark plug cap off. You put this apparatus on your spark plug and you plug it in here. And when you start the machine, or you try and start, you'll see a little spark and it tells you, yes, you have spark.
I have seen those. Those are really cool.
Like literally Princess Auto. They're like $10 to $20.
Yeah, those are really cool. I didn't know they existed until last year.
Yeah, no, 100%. They prevent you from like putting soap and holding a screwdriver to it and like seeing the spark or getting zapped. Like there's ways to test it other than that. My opinion, well worth the $20. Saves you a boatload of fine tuning, this, that.
Great advice.
And depending on what you've got a ride-on lawnmower, and it's got a few spark plugs, or sorry, not spark plugs, fuses, fuse tester. I don't know, what's the test light? There you go. That's what it is. Hook it up to positive or negative. You can find current. You can check your switches. You can do this, that. You can even find the one that you hook up to both, and it'll tell you if you've got positive or negative, so you don't even have to figure out which side of the circuit you need. They're fairly cheap, $30 to $40 to $50, maybe $30 to $50, let's say, on Amazon. You hook it up positive, negative. Green light means you've got this. Red light means you've got this. I can't remember which one's which for positive circuit or ground circuit.
Yeah, I think they're good for continuity testing too, right?
Depending which one you buy, yeah.
Yeah, those are good to have.
Multimeter, yeah. The bunker just said multimeter. I was like 100%.
Yeah, big.
If you want to splurge a little bit, find yourself a multimeter that'll do AC as well as DC. So some of the equipment I work on is a Kohler motor, which has 2 cylinders, and it runs cool. And it's got this little weird apparatus on the side. So it runs on what's the word? It's not an alternator. It's a
generator. A stator. Sometimes they call them.
Stator. Yes. Thank you, Jeff. A stator system. So that so it comes out in AC volts and then there's a regulator that converts it to DC volts to charge the battery. So on my machine, if I need to boost the machine, I always got to boost the machine. So I can check, okay, what's my volts on the battery? I've got 8 volts. Boost it, start it. Regular, if you've got an actual battery, it should be 13 to 14 volts. It's only running at 12 volts. So then I can check, okay, is it my stator where I need to take apart half the motor, or is it just the regulator on the side? So I can switch from AC to DC volts and check what's the voltage coming out at AC current and what's the voltage coming out at DC current. So that's going fancy for a lot of the stuff we're talking about, because your snowblower and your lawnmower and your leaf blower, they don't even have stators. They don't have alternators. They don't even have batteries for most.
True.
Right? But it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not crazy expensive to get something like that. But to have it, if you want to dabble into getting into your vehicle or other things, yeah, 100%. If you can get one
I bought my first multimeter to check voltage levels on battery cells, double A's, C's, and D's. So that's how I got started with it. And very quickly, I learned that I could do all kinds of things with this. Yeah. And back in the day, we had these things called books. And there's a little book on how to use a multimeter, and it just blew my mind. And I still haven't learned more than a quarter of what's in that book, but I feel so much smarter having learned a quarter of what's in the little booklet. So
I was an automotive apprentice, so the Snap-on guy showed up and the Mac tool truck showed up. So I bought a $600 one. It came with a disc.
Oh,
So I
wow.
put it in the computer and it showed you how to use it. Yeah.
Okay, that's
and
a fancy multimeter.
Right. And then you can get into getting amp clamps and this, that.
Oh, yeah.
90% of this doesn't apply to anything. So if you've got a ride-on lawnmower that you've got a turnkey, fine, yeah. 100%, don't even think about it. Get something that'll work AC DC system. But for your lawnmower, everything else, just a regular multimeter. You can buy them. Wait till they go on sale. Pat in the bunker said he picked one up for $20 on Amazon.
Yeah, like that's the right price.
Yeah, like you don't need the $600, $700 fluke one that can tell you how far, or the whole system that'll tell you how far the break is in the wire. And
yeah, exactly.
Like you don't need that unless like you do it for a living. 100%. Don't get me wrong, right? But what we're talking about is just simple, basic stuff. Everything you have, your snowblower, your this, that, I would say bare minimum, you have one air filter for everything, 2 spark plugs for everything. If it requires a filter, bare minimum, 1 spare filter. Always on hand.
Great advice.
You use one. I'm not saying you gotta like Amazon next day delivery the next one. But before you use the next one,
reorder.
It's fairly easy for spark plugs for that ceramic coating to get cracked and this, that, where they don't work efficiently anymore and they start running like a bag of shit. And if they start running real bad, like you ever used the machine and left it on like full, like half choke and realize the amount of exhaust, like puff that comes out that exhaust for the next 3 hours after you realize that, right? So yeah, other cheap maintenance, take your spark plug out. Carb cleaner is another good thing. Learn how to take your carb apart, learn how those seals work, learn how the internal components work. Carbs are not complicated. Chokes are not complicated. Chokes are and throttles are mostly cables, but just learning. So I was literally in a snowbank taking my carb apart because I didn't do the proper maintenance and my bowl was stuck shut. So even though my gas was on, no gas was getting into my car. So there's a little part where gas fills up and then the vacuum causes gas to get blown. Yeah, I'm literally in a snowbank with all my tools. And I had to take like half my snowblower apart just to get the carb out because they decided to put a bolt that was like 6 inches long, right, holding it on, and everything was in the way. So I'm like in a snowbank while it's snowing, taking my carb apart. I'm like, it's on me. But yeah, it was just things got gummed up, things got this, things got that. Yeah, it took me 2.5 hours to take it all apart, take it in the garage, warm everything up. Don't throw out old soft toothbrushes. Throw those in your kits for your maintenance. Clean off the spark plugs.
Oh yeah.
Clean out that bowl. Clean out some of those seals. Get an extra pack of seals. Everybody knows carb cleaner is good. A lot of people will replace carb cleaner with brake cleaner, which is not bad. But there's 2 leading side effects to brake cleaner, which no man wants to hear: infertilization and impotency. The third one is it will dry out rubber seals. Very bad. Brake clean's good. It works. But there's side effects to it. You want to dry out all the seals, you're going to have a seal kit with you. Another thing to have in your toolkit is a small, you know those really dinky water bottles that are only about this big that you pay like crazy amount for? Go buy one and throw it in your kit. You're ever unsure if it's fuel related? put fuel in that thing. Put your inlet hose in it. Can you get it started? Yeah, you're not getting fuel to it. That's what I have one in my truck. I put a Sharpie marker on it. That's my gas one. If I ever have something, I put diesel in it, I put gas in it, doesn't matter what I put in it. I can bypass the whole system and say, can I direct inject diesel into this? Yep. I know where to start my diag.
Good.
All right. Well, you've got some really good advice today. Anybody from the panel or in the live chat got any last questions? We've been almost an hour and a half. It's been a lot of good information. So anybody got any last minute questions or comments?
None on this end. I've got enough to chew on here. This is great stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you,
know.
Pierre.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering.
And thanks to our guests here who are joining in. We got lots of great stuff from our listeners tonight.
I'm just wondering if this would be worth doing another episode of small engine stuff in the spring.
Yeah, we can always look at that or follow up on it.
Yeah, I'd like to figure out. So I'll have to get the Frugal Gunny over to figure out how to set up my cameras, and we can get more hands-on or get more in depth with things. There's lots of stuff I didn't mention about just because I'm like, I don't want to lose people down a rabbit hole of like nothing to show, right? Like,
Yep.
I get confused, and
Yep,
It'll be perfect. Maybe I'll bring the snow machine and we'll get the cameras rolling.
I'm down, buddy. You got the new address, right?
No, but I'll be coming there soon. You're doing some moving, so.
That is true.
So, well, I guess if we've got no more further questions or comments, we can move into the podcast challenge. So I don't know. I tried to figure out a way to word the podcast challenge, but basically I said, get your small engine stuff, get your engines ready either for winter or ready to store for the winter.
Yeah.
So,
and now's the time to look for that lawnmower someone doesn't want to bother storing because it's no good. Go swoop it up.
Good idea.
And
Great.
try
Also,
it.
the snowblower. Somebody has gone ahead of it and tried to get theirs running, and it's not working. It might be sitting at the end of the driveway too that you can play with.
Try it out. And worst comes to worst, you're gonna fail. It's gonna go back to the road, or some person that knows what they're doing is gonna pick it up from you for either free or at least the parts you put in it, and they're gonna get it up and running and sell it for a bunch of money. Grab it, try it out. Nothing's gonna kill you.
And John in the live chat says he did 3 oil changes today on equipment, so challenge accepted. Yeah, if you did it before we gave you the challenge, doesn't count. Sorry.
You're still at 0, bro. My record is 18 at 5 different. 1, 2.
Yeah, you guys went nuts on that trip.
Yeah. We did 23 in 2 days at 7 different locations, all within 4 hours of each other.
Wow.
Yeah, I spanked buddy. Don't worry about that.
All kidding aside, John, good job. We'll give you credit.
Yeah,
well done.
100%. Yeah, no. It's that time of year. It's starting to get cold. Think ahead of time. You don't want to be me in the snowbank taking your car apart.
Actually, we do, and we do want the YouTube on that as well.
It's not going to be on YouTube, buddy. Fuck you. If I'm in the cold like that, you're paying only fan rate.
I don't have anything for any upcoming events. Anybody have anything they're aware of that we're not in there?
I mean, snow's not far away. Get your shit ready.
Yep. Okay, so for my weather blurb, we'll get into the bit of winter stuff. So in Canada, both the old Farmer's Almanac, you can knock it, you can believe it, you can't, that's totally up to you. I'm not getting a fight with you. And NOAA, so the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, are both predicting a colder than average winter across most of the provinces. They've nicknamed it Winter Whiteout, being the theme for the upcoming snowy regions. Regions such as British Columbia, Alberta, and the prairies can expect frigid temperatures and increased chances of snowfall. I've got a link in there. I'll throw it in the live chat. A lot of this is being caused by El Nino, and it is strong, and it is here to stay for the winter months. There's a decent chance that it's actually probably going to stick around and influence our weather straight into the spring. Not only will we head into the cold season with this pattern of above normal water temperatures in the Eastern Pacific, but forecasters have kind of said there's not an insignificant chance that this El Nino could grow to a, quote, historically strong before long. Strong El Nino events can have major repercussions on global weather patterns, and the unprecedented global temperatures around the world can make this El Nino unlike any we've seen before. But as we've seen before, this year and a lot of other years, it will play out on its own terms and with its own quirks. Weather's its own thing. We can't control it. We can't know what it's going to do. It's not just the Pacific Ocean that's unusually warm right now. Oceans around the world are facing unprecedented warmth this year, which is a major wild card for the upcoming season. So just pay attention, obviously, to your weather. I keep saying it. Don't be scared. Be prepared. You don't want to be that Pierre in the snowbank when you've got all that snow trying to fix your snowblower. So
at least not for at least $6.99 per custom review.
So get out there and get it done. Deal of the week, Brad.
Canadian Tire, 25% off a Noma LED outdoor solar motion light, $52.50 down from $70. I have two of them outside. One is on my shed. One is on a post. They shine brightly. Plenty of times that the sun has not been the best during the day, and they'll still last for a good long while at night, especially at least if you don't have a lot of things moving around. But when you do, they light up the night, and then there's no power from you. So they work nicely in a power outage too, to let you know if anybody's creeping up on you.
Right on. I will shout out to Pierre for his expertise, or he says he's not an expert. He's a lot smarter than I am, and so I consider
I didn't even put show notes together for tonight.
Yeah, you're that smart. We know. Thanks, Pierre, for instilling some good knowledge on us and some good ideas, and to the panelists and the people in the live chat for your questions. I think there were a lot of good questions out there. So with that, I will bring episode 218 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Please submit a review. It helps the algorithm and helps other people find us.
We record these shows on YouTube's or Bookface if you must. If you want an early peek of the show, subscribe to YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, not Canadian Prepper. It's a whole different ballgame we're not getting into. And click the notification tab. That gives you an alert when we go live. You can talk. Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. You can contact me, Off the Wall Customizing, on pretty much all the socialist medias. Tickety Talk. I am on the Discord for this CPP, but I have been on it so long, there's too many notifications. I'm scared now. So you can private message me on there. Or Monday nights, where you can find me critiquing government and having a bunch of drinks on the other CPP, the Patriot Podcast, on YouTube, at least for now, until we get banned again. Or officially, I don't know. Yes.
And you can find me, the Frugal Gunny, on YouTube. I'm on Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also in the CPP Discord.
If anybody wants to reach out, batbradcpp@gmail.com. And I'm also on the Discord as well.
And please check out Rapid Survival at rapidsurvival.com. You can get Eric there. You obviously noticed that he decided to duck out on us tonight. Get him there on the live chat for all your prepper gear needs.
Is that Ian? Is that second Ian?
Could almost be Ian squared, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Okay.
You can, if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can email me just at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
and keep learning.